Good morning. This is Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, many of you are watching it on your cable services. And we own cable services throughout Acadiana. 250,000 plus homes are covered by cable companies, and so we get into a lot of homes. And then, of course, those of you that use the internet service, that's a whole lot of more additional homes and cars and trucks. Big truckers are watching the Bobby Dupre Show, kind of listening to it, maybe more than watching it, but they get the audio portion. They can watch that, or listen to that would be a better word, Bobby. And of course, many of you tell me that you watch the program on Sundays on the replay of the cable companies. And that's good to hear. More and more, they're convincing me that we need to make sure we keep that 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon wide open.
So that works for them.
And a certain percentage of you watch it on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. and come back and watch it again at 3 p.m. On the Sunday program. So whatever way you watch it, we appreciate it. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor. And of course, right now it's time for one of our good sponsors.
Sure. Let's talk about Targill Butcher and Seasoning Supplies on Wartell Avenue in Opelousas. Good friend Ted Bellard over there has created quite the business of making seasoning blends and packaging them for just about anybody that needs seasoning, be it from personal use or corporation use. You can go in, they have a couple of different blends. You can make your own recipe. They package it up real nice for you, and you can get it sent out. They're currently doing some work on their website right now, but normally you can go to www.targill.com and see all of that. Also see them for all your cutlery and kitchen supplies. And let's talk about...
I might add that we're going to show a picture later on with Vicki talking to Uncle Larry. And Uncle Larry is down the country, and he just went by, and he's contemplating doing a seasoning, and he's looking into the packaging, and he visited with Todd over at Targill.
Oh, yeah?
That's correct. I'll show a picture of him later.
Well,
but
sure.
I think it's worth, he drove up and visited, and he was impressed with the facilities and the friendliness and the knowledge that these Cajuns have over there at Targill.
Well, sure. I've got a good friend that just did some stuff. Andrew's cousin got Fire in the Hole seasoning done at Targill, and it was really good. All right, and we're also going to talk about good friends over at Carl's Thrifty Way in Opelousas, located on South Union Street in Opelousas. You can visit Carl's Thrifty Way, of course, for all your pharmaceutical needs. Very knowledgeable staff, friendly staff, always there to help you. And Carl himself is up there, doing the compounding and doing the prescriptions. And while you're there, if you see on the screen, they've got some really nice items in their gift shop. You can see all kinds of home decor, clothing, jewelry, bracelets, anything you need for the home. There you go, UL t-shirts, anything
With
you need
football
over there.
season coming
LSU,
in, you're going to have
you
UL and you'll have LSU, you bet.
Good stuff over there at Carl's Thrifty Way. So go see them and the gift shop.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. You were here last week?
Yeah, sure was.
You were back last week.
Back.
Week before last, we spoke about a Cajun heritage that will be taking place Saturday over the ending of the boat ride, and all will be in St. Martinville. The church in St. Martinville, they call it the St. Martin de Tours Catholic Church, founded in 1765, and of course we in 2015, that's what, 250 years it's been created, and of course that was the beginning of St. Martinville. And Saturday, I'm going to be taking that new used pontoon boat. There it is right there, a picture of it. We'll be landing over in Leonville, and we'll start from Leonville all the way to St. Martinville. And that's about a 35-mile winding trip.
Well, you almost ought to land right there in Port Barry at the mouth of the Teche.
Well, they had it, but there might be some obstacle or something. I don't know what the reason is, but they're going to start with a mass in Leonville.
Okay.
And then just across the road, really, is
right
the
there
new
is the
boat
church.
landing that was just built.
Nice boat landing, too.
Nice boat
Very
landing.
nice.
So it should be a safe boat landing. And I'm not sure how many pontoons boats they'll have, but they'll have several there. I've been asked to make sure I have a top on mine because there's about maybe 4 to 6 nuns, Catholic nuns, that plan on riding, and maybe some priests also, deacons. I'm not sure how many, but thank God I came in just in time, and I've got 3 pontoons on this boat to give it more stability.
Yeah.
So while it's not
We don't
rough,
want any nuns going overboard.
No. And we make sure that we have life jackets. In fact, in my next break, I've got to call Mac and David and make sure that they bring back enough life jacket, because I don't want to get a ticket. I got a ticket one day. It was a warning ticket.
Though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
Who's going to give you a ticket with a boatload of priests and nuns?
Hey, wildlife agent will just say, "Hey, you're supposed to know better.
Right, you're right.
You're endangering these people's lives." And
boy, I'd have a hard time writing that ticket, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you about a ticket written on me on a boat, but we'll do that off there. But anyhow, it was all in fun. Anyhow, it should be a nice ride.
Yeah, it will.
And we're going to stop at various Catholic churches along the way that are built near the Bayou Teche.
And I'll get a glimpse of that. I'll see y'all passing. That's right by my house. Y'all going to pass right in front of my house.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, good. What about, what did you tell me?
The Bayou Teche?
Yeah. What
Bayou Teche is the longest bayou in the world.
Longest bayou, okay.
The longest bayou in the world. Yeah, not the longest river.
No, longest bayou. Now, and then what did you tell me about the Chafalaya?
Chafalaya is the deepest river in the world.
And then what did I add to that?
And you said the swiftest undercurrent
in the world.
Right.
That's what I knew about them. I didn't know about the swiftest on top, but undercurrent, very dangerous. In other words, it brought down a lot of people over the years.
You're right about that.
And then what else did you say? The bayou?
Catawba is the widest bayou in the world.
Bayou.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of widest, longest, deepest in the world right here.
Yeah, and maybe we're adding a little BS to it.
And this is the longest 30-minute show in the world.
In the world, that's right.
I don't know, that's my daddy told me all that, so that should be right.
Okay. Anyhow, I think that's going to be a fun trip. And of course, if you live near St. Martinville or wherever you live in, you could come there, and it should be a nice gathering. And there's going to be a lot of history being
beautiful area down there,
disseminated out to the attendees. So should be a fun trip. I hope the weather, we know it's going to be hot, but we hope it's not raining. But we've got a nice top on it in case it rains.
Probably going to dock right there by the Evangeline Oak and then go to the church.
Yep, that's
beautiful
where we're
area.
That's where we're going to dock. Okay, you have both of your sponsors.
Yep, we got them both in right there. I can do another one if you want.
No.
Okay, we'll save that for the next one.
Social Security at 80 years old. Social Security was signed into the Social Security Act was signed on August 14th, 1935. So it's on the 14th, which is a couple of days from now. It's going to be 80 years old. And, you know, I've been hearing since I'm a young business person, young payer into the Social Security, that it was going to go broke and all. Well, it's got some problems. It needs some, I guess, tuning up, but it has several $1 trillion in the fund, $1 trillion. So what it needs is it needs some attention, and that's on the national level. Social Security is financed by 12.4% tax, and that's paid half by the employer and half by the employee, the worker, and then the company pays, they share that, and it's applied to the first $118,500. To correct it, they could correct a big portion of it if it was taxed on total earnings.
Right.
Total earnings, which would make it, would take care of, wipe out 66% of the shortfall.
Wow.
One lick. But that would be hard to pass because the big boys
don't want to pay more taxes.
They figure that they not only paying on them, but they're paying for the employees of the company. Another one would be to combine the payroll tax rate by 1/10 of 1% till it reaches 14.4 in 20 years. So
increase
that
it,
that would be a very modest increase. Probably
Sure.
no one would really.
Well, you have increased Social Security increases every year. The benefits increase due to inflation. So I think this year it increased by 1.7%.
That's right, and they honor that, although they can see a shortfall coming up in the future. But anyhow, I thought it was an interesting article, and if you want to read the whole article, in the Acadiana Advocate, it was on Monday's edition, August the 10th, on page 3A. A very well-written article, and what you looking at? The musicians.
The music on the back.
Music on the back is right. And that's where I started. I was looking at this, and then I saw about Social Security. And I keep hearing people say it's going to go broke and all of that. I don't think we have to worry about that. You might have to pay slightly. Those of us don't have that many more years to pay or collect. I mean, I hate to say it, but at 70,
you might not have to worry about it.
At 78, and I'm still paying into it, and I'm happy to pay into it. It probably increases my Social Security benefit a very little bit, if anything. I guess the only thing that I really get more, even though I've paid into it by more than one way too. But anyhow, that's it's kind of gets complicated, but it's a good. It protects everybody to some degree. And one of the big things that they talked about, investing it in the stock market. It would you'd make more money.
Sure, like a 401k kind of.
But on the other hand, in bad times, you could
Loses
lose. Not only that, but it would be expensive to go and start a disability program. You know, a lot of people are collecting because of disabilities, and that would be not into the stock market unless they'd have to buy that. So it's a real tricky. It's worked pretty well, and I think they just need to fine tune it. That would be my recommendation.
There you go.
Joel Fletcher, he was the president at SLI, and he left in 1966. In 1966 he I guess retired from USL. At that time it was USL. He went in as SLI and retired, and then he went to work for the state superintendent of education, Mr. Bill Dodd. And that appointment for a year's pay was $14,500, just to give you, I mean, this is a top paying job in the Department of Education for the state of Louisiana, and it only paid $14,500. I thought that was kind of interesting. And he spent 46 years on the USL faculty. And he had been president for 26 years. Wow. That's a long, well-respected man. I remember him when I started at SLI in 1955. Of course, he was the president then. And when I graduated 4 years later, he was still the president. So touched a lot of lives. Talking about lives, we talk about the Boy Scouts and the discipline that it teaches, the dedication that it teaches, the Americanism that it teaches.
Sure.
This year, the Evangeline Area Council, Boy Scouts of America, at the annual St. Landry and Evangeline Parish Distinguished Citizens Award, Dr. Brent Prather was awarded the award for the Boy Scout.
Couldn't be more deserving.
And Mark Sulentrup, the plant manager at Cabot in Evangeline Parish, received the St. Landry and Evangeline Parish Distinguished Citizen Award from Brian Miller. Both awards were by Brian Miller, by the way. And I was not able to go. They honored me with that same award last year in 2014. And I did make a contribution this year. And in fact, I still have the check, Brian. If you happen to be listening to I have the check, and you need to get it and deposit it while it's still good. We seem to be honoring and respecting, showing respect to the veterans at a much greater, I guess, amount than we had been in the past. We need to take a break, right?
Yeah, it's about
we'll
time.
come back. We'll come back and talk about the honor guard for veterans' funerals. What's the latest in St. Landry Parish? 1 minute break. Welcome back to the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick here, Mr. Matt LeBlanc. And we do it in 4 quarters for those of you that are viewing it possibly for the first time. And we'll get right into it. We'll take a couple of our good sponsors right away, and then we'll get talking again about what the vets have in mind for St. Landry Parish.
Very good. Let's talk about LHC Group, the Louisiana Healthcare Group, dedicated to improving the lives of their patients. Whether you or someone you love is recovering from an illness at home, requiring special treatment at one of their long-term care acute facilities, or is in need of hospice care at end of life, you can count on their attentive and compassionate professionals to deliver high-quality care. That's the LHC Group, founded right here in Louisiana, Louisiana Healthcare Group. And we want to talk about Dixie Storage, with locations in Port Barre, Opelousas, and Washington. You can see Dixie Storage right here. You see on the screen right there. They've got Dixie Storage, Dixie Trucking, Dixie Signs, A+ Glass. Kind of got their hands in a whole bunch of things, but their primary thing is storage, and they've got over 1 million square feet of storage. If you're in need of storage, bottom line is they can provide it. See them in Opelousas, Washington, or Port Barre.
2 of our local veterans, 2 that have spent a lot of time volunteering to help veterans in different ways throughout their careers since they have returned home. One, I think, retired. I think Link Savoy retired from the military.
Yes,
he did retire.
Yes.
And the other served in the military, and I'm speaking of Harvey Darbone. And they're working to make sure that when the veterans die in St. Landry Parish, that they'll have an honor guard, a chosen honor guard, and they'll have alternates to make sure that the going away at the funeral services will be well represented by an honor guard, and I'm sure I'm sure they're going to get plenty of volunteers to assist in this project, because it's something that is needed in St. Landry Parish and elsewhere also, and some areas have a very good. And I want to say that the honor guard that I see in action are retired, not necessarily retired, former veterans from the Port Barre area. They have a nice group, and they're doing it, but it's not fair to call just on them. We should have a group that takes care of the whole parish, assisting them, if you might say that. State Veterans Affairs Department says that there's 5,523 military veterans in St. Landry Parish.
Right.
Didn't think, and we only have about 95,000 citizens in St. Landry Parish, and there's 5,500 veterans. So, and that number kind of stays alive, because while some are dying, there's a lot of veterans that are called the young
getting out now,
boys and girls that are getting out of the military and constantly joining the military.
Right.
So that number is going to stay, and it's going to be a good program, very much like the Veterans Memorial. That program has really gotten off to a good start, and they have plans that are going to take it into the future. They have more plans for a possible museum and other ideas. So we're going to be hearing more from them. So Harvey and Link, thank you. And if you all need anything from us, we'll be glad to pass the word on whatever your need is. The police chief in Opelousas was given a fix the jail sermon, and he says he went to the city council and the mayor at a recent Opelousas City Council meeting and says, I need some help, because he was given an order that they need to spruce up the jail, and that happens every so many years. It kind of lag behind, and so Chief Donald Thompson says he wants some help. He doesn't not want to spend any time in that little jail for not listening when he was told in person by a judge. It didn't say who the judge is, but some interesting stories. This one is not necessarily local, but it's about a gentleman that started his life over in the Alexandria area, and but he's hired a lot of people from Acadiana over the years, and I'm speaking of Cajun Industries, and he moved to Baton Rouge, and I'm speaking of Mr. Lane Grigsby. He grew up in Alexandria without a father, and he could not afford to go to college, and today it's a multi-billion-dollar construction company. Quite an interesting story. And it just goes to show you what can be accomplished if you have the desire. You have to have the mentality, but you have to have the desire and a big heart. He has treated his employees well over the years. They stay with the company, and they continue growing the company. So if you're interested in reading more about that, the Daily Advertiser had that on Monday, August the 10th. Another article that was Monday, and Cajun Industries LLC, and just an old country boy that done well, like the Cajun likes to say. So good stories out there, and I see where Shell is considering cutting jobs in wake of the low oil prices, and this is a few days ago. This article was written last week. Well, this week the oil price went might have gone under 40 even, but in the low 40s per barrel. And we really need to see that this goes up again, because we're going to start feeling it. We haven't felt it to any great extent, although there's a lot of people. They seem to be getting jobs in another area. Their qualifications are carry over into other industries, and it looks like most of them are getting a job, and that's the good news. But the bad news is this low oil price will eventually touch us and a lot of the United States, because with the directional fracking drilling that's taking place now, they're going into parts of the United States. North Dakota is second largest oil producing state. They probably had not produced any significant amount of oil in the past. I had never heard that they had any oil. Today they're the second largest with this new process of fracking. And directional drilling. They just producing oil all over the United States, and I'm sure in other countries this technique that's developed here, probably a lot of it is right here in Acadiana. I mean, the oil industry has such a deep following that starts right here in Acadiana, South Louisiana. And offshore, of course, is something else. They going and drilling in thousands of feet, say like Clay Bertrand, thousands of feet. But anyhow, let's talk about something else here. Bringing the vinyl back. This is something that you could be interested. You probably heard of this. I know you don't watch TV much, but John Cannon Center shops with his son Michael, 15, at Leff, and David, 12, at Lagniappe Records in downtown Lafayette. They have moved from Baton Rouge and have moved into Lafayette. And I'd imagine that Cajun and French music is more popular in Lafayette and the surrounding areas than Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge kind of loses that flavor when you get into the Florida parishes and all of that area, north and a little east of Baton Rouge. You're losing that Cajun flavor.
Right.
And you familiar with this in
I'm not familiar with the shop, but you know, the whole move to vinyl is it's both a collector's kind of. You have a big jacket on the album cover that you can read. It brings the artwork back into the equation, because this day of digital music, there's no more artwork, and people liked the artwork on the album covers just as much as they liked the music sometimes. So this kind of brings the artwork back into it, and it's got its vintage sound to it, and a lot of people don't realize, but they've never really been able to improve on the sound quality of vinyl. Vinyl, the first time you play a vinyl record, is the absolute best sound quality you can get. It's better than any digital recording. It's better than any CD you can buy, better than any MP3 you can download. Vinyl is the best the first time you play it. Once you play it the first time, you don't.
I'm glad I brought this up. I don't know much about it, but you, our so-called expert, if we have one at all, it would be you. And I mustn't forget Andrew. Now, he knows a little bit about that also. And I had got interested in collecting the big ones, and I lost the interest. So many things going on all the time. But I had attended one of my great niece's weddings in New Orleans. And that's what they had a disc jockey that played.
He was spinning vinyl.
And he was spinning vinyl, and it was so much fun to watch him. And he put on a little show with it. Kind of reminds me of what's our boy in Opelousas that spins the records for the old timers at the Elks Lodge. Kenny Morrow. Kenny Morrow. He spins some vinyl. Still does it. I'm sure. I haven't made any of their dances lately, but probably he still does. Anyhow, don't throw those old records away.
Right.
There's a market for them. Actually, it's not big dollars, but it's better than throwing them away. And then somebody else will buy them, and they'll have fun with them, and they might pass them on to a grandchild, and just hundreds of years from now, they'll say, that all started because of a wave of Bobby Dupre and Matt LeBlanc telling us to keep those records.
That's right, huh?
They all worth something, and it's worth the heritage part of it, if nothing else.
Absolutely. About time?
About time to take another 1-minute break. Boy, it goes, when you're having fun, it sure goes fast. Hopefully you're enjoying the Bobby Dupre Show along with my sidekick here, Matt, and we try to bring you little different stories, kind of like the boat tour and all of it gathering in St. Martinville Saturday. It's not just Catholics, it's just going to be Cajuns.
Sure. Fellowship.
And everybody is invited to attend the function in St. Martinville. Welcome back to the third quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show. Boy, when you're having fun, Bobby, it goes real quick. And we have a number of pictures I think you'll enjoy. Louisiana Restaurant Association held their annual meeting and showing of the various food products that are available and the equipment that are available. And I think you'll enjoy it. And you're going to see pictures of a lot of people that hopefully you recognize and others you've heard about.
And talking about Louisiana restaurants, there's none better than the Steamboat Warehouse in Washington, the Steamboat Warehouse restaurant in Washington.
When we left,
visit Chef Jason Huguet down there, and boy, look at that. Look at that. That's some good food.
Oh, I forgot to tell you the steaks that we talk about, the silver steaks. That's one of the pictures.
And that's at Steamboat?
Yeah, at the Steamboat.
Oh, okay. If you can find that picture, we'll bring it back up right here. But go see Chef Jason Huguet over at the Steamboat Warehouse restaurant in Washington. Trust me, it's an experience you will not forget. There you go, the sterling silver steaks right there. You can get those at Steamboat? Is that
At
what
the
you're saying?
Steamboat, that's the quality, that's one of the highest qualities, if not the highest quality of steaks that you can buy.
And you know, Jason doesn't take any shortcuts when it comes to making steaks.
No, sir.
That's for sure.
No, sir. He doesn't take a back seat to anybody.
Not at all. So go see him over at Steamboat Warehouse. And while you're in Opelousas or kind of heading towards that way in Washington, you can stop by Piggly Wiggly on the north end of Opelousas, or you can stop by their new location. Well, it's not really Piggly Wiggly, it's Cash Savers Grocery. On the south end of Opelousas on Heather Drive, there's also another location in Simmsport if you do happen to be out that way. But I got to talk about
shopped at Cash Saver last night.
Cash Savers. I went day before yesterday, and let me tell you, they were so well stocked. The prices were so good, and people were shopping. There was a lot of people shopping there, but there was no waiting to check out. It wasn't like some of the other, I won't say the big names, but
well,
they were.
I found their pricing on their 1 cup Keurig coffee that is produced by Community Coffee, Baton Rouge product, and they were about $1 less per 12 pack.
Yeah.
So that's that's a nice
They
little
got
savings.
great prices, great price. Gallon of milk there, that'll blow your mind how much you can save on a gallon of milk. But anyways, go see them over at Piggly Wiggly, one location in Opelousas on the north end, or Cash Savers Grocery on Heather Drive in Opelousas, or you can visit them in Simmsport. All 3 stores got great deals for you folks. And we've got one more we want to talk about, and I needed these guys this weekend. JB Sandals.
Oh Lord, if you needed a little port, a little screw,
one special tool to change a motorcycle tire on my bike, and JB Sandals is where you can get it. They've got everything there, in business for over 135 years, and there's a reason for that. Because you can go and you can find anything you need there. If you need a wheelbarrow, if you need a shovel, if you need a plate, if you need a fork, if you need a barbecue pit, a bicycle.
And most of the time when you walk in, there'll be somebody there that's going to get your attention, and they'll bring you right to the product you're looking for. Then after that, you own your own. You can just shop. But the product you went in there, they'll be glad to bring you any product. But you go there a lot of times with, like, you had something in mind, then you bought something else.
Yep.
That's the general way of how we shop.
It's a unique shopping experience.
Exactly.
It's a very unique shopping.
I like to bring my out-of-town friends and show them. They said, and then when we leave, and they said, well, no wonder you like to bring us over there. We don't have anything like this. No, those are dying breed right here. It's one of a kind that's left.
It is one of a kind, and you would think for service like that you'd pay more for it, but you don't.
You don't. No.
Prices are absolutely
very competitive.
Great. So go see them at JB Sandals on North Main in Opelousas.
They have they occupy a whole block, and
Sure do.
They're not buying that block now. That block was probably paid within 5 years of the beginning of that big building, and that whole block.
Oh, yeah.
Probably purchased 130 years ago.
Yep, probably so. JB Sandals, great place, none other like it. Got a couple of pictures you want to talk about?
Yes, we attended the Louisiana Restaurant Association this past weekend, and I want to thank the Kelly Diner folks, Kelly and his wife Elaine, and Cindy, who all work at the diner, and they were able to get a ticket for me, so I was able to attend. Vicky actually she went there as an employee of DHH, as the Louisiana Department of Health, and she pulled a shift there, but I just went and visited and took some pictures. And of course, this is what you're looking at on the screen right now is the opening ceremony of the function, the Louisiana Restaurant Association. And the gentleman in the middle right here is Alan. Alan is one of the attorneys that represents a segment of our HBPA functions, and he also is the attorney for the Louisiana Restaurant Association, is what I understand, and they gave him an award for all the work that he does above and beyond. Good guy. And they had a seafood cook-off, and we'll go right through these. And then this is just a group of people that were taking that picture, and I took them. They, look how everybody's happy. You know, when you go to functions like this, you have a good time just walking around, and of course, if you're Bobby Dupre, you're going to be pulling on somebody's coattail, and what's your name?
Yeah.
Who's your mom and daddy? And where y'all are from? No. I know you're a Lemoyne. You have to have some relationship in a Voiles parish.
You know, Voiles for sure.
You know, just like that. But anyhow, those people. I just took a quick shot, and then this is the Opelousas group that I was part of. Coming in, and on the right,
Jan and A.B. Corville.
Yep, Janice and A.B. and then Lejeune, John Kelly Lejeune and his wife Betty, and then the red shirt in the back is Chase, and that's a grandson of Elaine and Kelly. And Kelly, the tallest man in the group, in the yellow shirt. Elaine's right in front, and in the yellow shirt, the young lady is Cindy, and she's married to Corey Leger. And Corey doesn't work, I don't think he works at the diner, but he is the spokesman now for the Opelousas Police Department. So that is the young man y'all see all dressed up in his uniform. He's in a relaxation uniform like we all were. And I want to compliment the people who thought up of the idea of building the Morial Convention Center. It's a huge, huge facility, and that was a reason it was built originally, and that was to host the 1984 World.
The World's Fair.
World's Fair, and it goes on and on and on. I don't know how many thousands of square feet it is, but there were too large. The International Diabetic Association was also having, and there was room for others in that big, huge building. But it was quite it must have taken years just to do the planning on such a building, and then the construction of it had to take quite a few years in itself. So if that building there was not there, they'd have a whole lot less conventions taking place in New Orleans.
Right.
It brings in thousands and thousands of people annually, every year. And this was our own Paul Prudhomme. He had a booth there with his magic seasoning. He does seasoning, and this is people that's manning the booth. He was not there. First thing I asked the young man that's on the right there, and here they are visiting. They were visiting the Paul Prudhomme. I don't know who the young man is right there. He recognized me. He must be connected some kind of way with some of the products that I know. And this is kind of like one of the Boudreaux fans, you know, Paul Boudreaux, LSU, those big fans you see in the football games, blowing all that fresh air on them. That's Paul Boudreaux, and does the Alabama Crimson Tide. He does theirs also, and maybe some others. So anyhow, Paul, didn't see you here, but this is a little different. This is an interior model, but works quite well. And our own mayor from Leonville, Louisiana, was also visiting the fair and enjoying himself. We visited a while, and of course I'll be in Leonville early Saturday morning, landing my pontoon boat. So don't be waiting for me now with a hot cup of coffee, Joel. And this is just a friendly smile, and I had to take a picture. And when you go to a function like this, you don't have to introduce yourself. They see with a camera, they're going to give you a good smile. And there's John Kelly picking at one of the young ladies, and I got them to get together and take a good picture there, good natural picture. And here's an Opelousas product here. Tony Sacherie is how they pronounce it, away from Opelousas. But John Kelly's with Elizabeth and Jude Tozan. Elizabeth, of course, goes back to the Gerald and Earlene Hidalgo family. And this is a new food service, Keith Food Services. They bought one, maybe Conco. I hope I don't use the wrong name, but they have taken over the Conco, and they knew. And this is
look at that
watermelon. Look,
yeah.
You think that's some fan? You
That's
think
cute.
the person that's doing that has got some skill?
Yeah,
you bet they do. And
That's nice.
the whole group are real nice guys, and I enjoyed y'all's visit. And if y'all are watching, hello. And we are getting some therapy on the back. On the back, we adjusting the electrical amount of shock it's giving us. Therapy. And these well, the gentleman on the left is Steve, and on the right is Vicky, and Steve's daughter is in the middle. And I think she goes by, I see the tag says Mary, but she was introduced as Megan, and I said, do you spell it M-E-G-H-A-N? She says, I do. I said, well, my daughter spells her the same way. Nice. And you're going to see these people over a few more times, I think.
Look at those fish.
And that is a lobster, and that lobster is live. That lobster you see right there, they're spraying water on him every now and then.
That's a big old boy.
That's a big boy. And that's the Louisiana Exchange, Seafood Exchange.
Well, I'm sure y'all ate well while y'all were there.
There were plenty to pick at. Believe me, and they were encouraging you. Maybe they got to go home after that. And this young lady was Brown's Velvet Ice Cream. Oh, I hadn't had that in a long time.
You're making me hungry now.
And she made me a good little cup of it there. Look at that cute smile. And this is one of the little vehicles that it's a promotional vehicle. I don't think it's on the road too much. And here on the right, of course, is Scott Swallow with Swallow's Dinner Club, and of course Betty and John Kelly. And then on the left is Beth Swallow. They didn't get them together, and I think Beth's eyes look like it might be closed. I apologize. Couldn't reopen it. We tried. You went kind of fast there, but anyhow.
Okay. There you go.
And it's Scott on the right. Scott is an employee of DHH along with Vicky. And we are getting a little therapy there.
Some more therapy.
Yep, some more therapy. It's amazing. And let's see here. Let's see which one.
Well, that's
Scott, Greg, Vicky, Steve, and Mike Vidrine all the way on the right. And Community Coffee had a couple of different booths out. And there they are, they're all talking. And another Community Coffee. And this is Larry. And what did I say he calls himself? Let's see if I have that down. Don't run off too quick. Don't tell me Uncle Larry. Uncle Larry, that's what he goes by, Uncle Larry. And he's the young man who's going to be packaging some seasoning that he's already tried out. He knows what he wants, and he's down, I guess, figuring the per cost, per bottling that it be charged. But he said he had a very, very good visit while at Torgill. And this is a young lady here, another booth by Tony Sashers. I didn't realize that they had really got real big into this Bloody Mary mix. And that's popular. Yeah. And this young couple here, Rebecca Poche on the left, and Blaze Guidry on the right. And of course, Rebecca's father owns Poche's
in Brobridge?
In Brobridge.
Yeah,
and
been there several times.
And I said, that kind of looks like y'all kind of tight right there. I don't see any rings on. I said, imagine y'all are visiting, y'all are dating. And they said, Mr. Bobby, you know we dated. You can tell how happy we are. Beautiful couple. Just look at that. Everything's nice. Everybody was just so nice to me. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. This is one of the huge... You rent this by the week. I think it's $9,500 a week, but it's a complete kitchen with the own.
Look at that.
Yep.
State of the art. Huh?
State of the art is right, and the gentleman on the left is the owner of that company, State. And this is one of the last pictures we have, I think. John is all the way on the right of Dan Burkhart Insurance. They're out of the Metairie, New Orleans area. They have several offices there. And Dan Burkhart was not there, but John and him welcomed me, and kind of picked at him a few. That was my first business I really had was insurance. The Bobby Dupre Insurance Agency, August the 20th, 1959. That goes back a long time. I had actually started my bail bond business in January of '59, but I've always used August 20th as my beginning. But I became a bail bondsman in January, and had a good time and learned a lot about people.
Well, you know what? We need to take a little break so we can come back with the final quarter.
Oh, yeah. Boy, I was wound up. But I hope y'all enjoyed our pictures. I hope I went through them pretty good. We have a few more left? Okay, the next quarter, the fourth quarter, we'll run right through them. You bet. Welcome back to the fourth and final quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick, Matt LeBlanc. And of course, we're going to really hurry because we have a lot of things left over, some more good pictures, and we got a couple of sponsors.
Sure, let's talk about Quarters Casino over on the north side of Opelousas, exit
23.
Good. You're not cheating reading that on the screen.
No. Oh, I see it.
So I guess he wasn't then.
No.
You just know that. Quarters Casino and Restaurant, well, actually, it's Travel Plaza and Casino. You can visit them for a good Chevron fuel, Hunt Brothers Pizza, and while you're there, you can get Subway sandwich, or you can go see El Pico de Gallo, authentic Mexican restaurant, and get some good, authentic Mexican food. Try your luck at the casino, too, while you're there. A whole bunch of slot machines for you to choose from. And our good friends over at St. Landry Homestead. St. Landry Homestead, located in Opelousas, Eunice, and Port Barry. New location in Eunice, and soon to be a new location in Port Barry. The Opelousas location might as well be a new location because it's all been redone.
Renovated from top to the bottom.
That's right. And you can see the staff there, St. Landry Homestead, and they will definitely help you with any of your banking needs. So go see them at St. Landry Homestead.
Business or personal, I might add.
That's right. Business, personal,
or personal.
Student loans.
Or both.
Any banking you could possibly think of, they can help you out at St. Landry Homestead.
Okay, we got a couple of pictures left, maybe. Some more at the food show, and this is, whoa, we got it mixed up. All right, that's Miss Teeny all the way on the right. She is the manager of the state DHH Sanitation Department, I think is the way the title is. Next to Teeny is Justin Grimion. Next to Justin would be Carol, and then Vicky, and then Katie Westbrook, and I'm not sure, maybe Scott. Maybe his name is Scott. But anyhow, excuse me if I get you kind of wrong there. And then the next picture would be, okay, that's Mike Vidrine on the left, and that would be Gordon LeBlanc from, Mike is from the Plaisance area and lives in Grand Prairie, and Gordon is from the Washington area and still lives there. And Tina's friend, and I think it's Phil, but don't hold me to it. If I'm wrong, I apologize. It was a quick meeting there of all of them. And then two young ladies just having a good time, Dawn and Jamie. And then, Bobby Dupre is holding both.
Now they're having a better time.
Now they're having a better time. That's right. Having a good time. And this is Mike Vidrine's wife, Andrea, on the left. Well, girl, there's just one girl there. And let's see, what did I say? Paul Neusterzer.
Close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
Neusterzer.
And this is Tina and her friend, I think it's Phil. But anyhow, Tina is really a likable young lady and just has a real good approach to working with her employees. And she just works as one of them, not no big boss on top. I spotted all that, just the way she, and then how friendly she was to the people as they were visiting the booth and all. Makes a difference. It helps out. And let's see, that's Steve on the right and Gordon, and then the red dress.
Go back to the red. There you go.
No, we got a couple more pictures outside of the red dress. The red dress, we'll come back to that after a while. That's the shoe store right here in Johnston and Murphy. There's a big mall attached to the Hilton on the river.
Ooh, look at you, looking sharp.
I'm trying on coats, and look at the socks. I don't have to. I can wear my shorts.
I'm telling you, and only a kneecap.
Just the kneecap, and that doesn't have a lot of fat to get cold, so shouldn't be bad at all. Real nice staff there.
Look at that tricycle.
Let's see the staff.
Go back to the staff?
Go back to the staff.
There you
go. The staff would be Brock is all the way on the left. He's the manager. And then my salesman was Ryan, then myself, and then the young lady is Amy. And the other young man, I guess, would be Billy on the right. If I got mixed up a little bit, don't hold me to it. But they were so helpful that I wanted a picture. And if you in New Orleans and you want to do a little shopping, I really didn't want to shop, but I bought 2 pairs of shoes and 2 sport coats. And they'll wheel and deal on that price. So I'm gonna just give you a little heads up. Real friendly people, and pricing was surprising. The pricing was very competitive.
Great shopping in New Orleans.
And this here is a shop, a simpler time, and that's a simpler little machine right there, a little kid's bicycle.
That. I see, that's a good idea for Kelly right there.
That's it. Kelly, when you look at the Daddy's program, take a picture of that and make some like that. They'll sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the bridge at night. Look how beautiful the Mississippi Bridge. And I'm at Drago's Sunday afternoon after Mass, needing something to eat. Look, the shrimp. Look, the po' boy.
Go back to the po' boy.
The po' boy is stacked with shrimp, and look how many shrimp on the plate. I mean, they must have been wanting to get rid of the rest of the shrimp that day.
I'm telling you, huh?
They put them all on my plate. And this is a gentleman that had some bad luck, and we bought some tickets from him. And he's from right there in Sunset, Louisiana, and his name is John Richard. John, I hope that a lot of people bought the tickets with you, and good luck to you and your family. And I took this picture here and sent it to Mr. Joe Rink. Mr. Joe picks at me that my hair is always, every blade of it's in place. And I had been out in the wind, so I'm brushing it back, and Vicky said, let me take a picture and send that to Mr. Joe. And that's what we did with that picture. And I was just walking through the Hilton and saw this couple sitting by themselves. And I guess they were resting, and they had a smile on their face. I said, y'all mind talking to me a little bit? And they said, certainly not. What you want to talk about? I said, where are you all from? And of course, the young man is David Kelly. We might be kin, you know. Kelly, that's Daddy's family, real family name in New York City. And the young lady is Rhonda Taylor. And they're from the Mobile, Alabama place. And David is owner of a 18-wheeler, and he hauls goods from the port in Mobile to Florida. And she is a banker with a credit union in the Florida area. So then that would have been Saturday night, went to Drago's and had a meal. And this couple sat next to me. I guess by the time I got through grilling them, they were ready to leave. No, they're real friendly. She was determined to make me believe that turning on a cell phone is a computer. So I'm not going to argue with you. And this is Nancy. The young lady is Nancy, and the young man is Ryan. 2 nice young people, Orlando, Florida, and we were almost cousins by the time we got through.
There you go, I'm sure.
This young man, these 2 young men right here work for Acme Oyster House, and I told them to be sure to tell Mike Rodriguez, the owner of Acme, who is owner of Rotco Insurance, personal friend for many years. Don't see him much anymore. He's opening a lot of Acme seafood restaurants. So anyhow, is that about all of my pictures? Because I need to get my prayer out.
Well, we got an obituary.
Obituary. Yep. Martin Cosgrove passed away, a dear, dear, dear friend. Mr. Robert Bob Lowe from Lafayette, a distinguished veteran, but a philanthropist #1 all his life. He's been generous to other people. And then this is
Frank Gifford.
Frank Gifford died at age 84, NFL superstar, player, and broadcaster. And this is Mr. Bayo, Mr. Bill Bayo. And this is Mr. Romero. He had something to do with the horses, and I didn't get to talk to Don about more about Mr. Romero, but I know I've heard of him in the horse industry. And this is C.J. Ryder Jr. and Sonny. We call him Sonny, and he was a construction gentleman. He worked for years doing construction work within the Louisiana complex, the Louisiana refining complex. Did years and years. And we'll have to say the closing prayer. August the 8th of 12, Mr. Jacob Baudelaire died. That's Vicky's daddy. And the prayer for today is, when we are tempted, God can help us. Depend on Him and the truth of His Word to help us avoid dangerous shortcuts. God's road is not easy, but it leads to eternal satisfaction. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening. Tell a friend thank you. And thank you, Dylan.